like a fresh young shoot. Ibuku shot to international fame about a decade ago, introducing bamboo architecture with all of its aesthetic potential and its obvious sustainability credentials to the world. Since then, Laura Hardy and her team have continued to develop bamboo construction, developing local skills and techniques while continuing to push the boundaries of the spatial and formal possibilities of this amazing material. A decade on, Ibuku still feels fresh, green, exciting, and now the scale of their projects and their ambition is truly mind-blowing. I have to warn you though, this architecture will grow on you.
We're just like at the tip of the iceberg of what's possible with bamboo in the world. It has so much of its own personality, especially when you're working with it in the round, that you need to design with it. We as designers are more interested in what bamboo's taught us than what we're building out of bamboo. So the lessons we've learned from working with this natural, sustainable material has really brought us into a design philosophy that informs how we think about space and what a sense of place makes possible in the relationships between people and the natural world and culture. So when we're engineering with bamboo, what's been happening for the past decade is honestly just a lot tied to the craftsman's experience, the visceral understanding of what's strong. And now with engineering processes, we are looking deeply into the fibers of the material to understand how it's so strong, because it's really unbelievably strong. When we do that, we really get to play with it more on the edge of what's possible, bring it into shapes and forms that we haven't imagined before. What we've created, the type of style and shapes that you see around Bali and more and more around Asia, that will be looked back at as being just this very early flowering. We will see such diversity in the creative expressions and technical expressions of this material in coming decades. It will happen very quickly.
The geometries of the bamboo lend themselves to these gracious curves that take the eaves down to the ground, or that the structural lines are so beautifully expressive. So there's such it's not elaborate, but there's a lot of expression in the architecture.
I want to acknowledge that we're usually building on a site that has a history and a personality.
Sure.
And our sites have very often been on this particular river valley, the Ayung River Valley. Many of the early projects were along this valley on the terraced steps among the trees and the plantations or the forests that had grown there. Our approach is to think okay, in this context, in this place, what do we want to do? How do we want to feel? And what's needed to create that?
Yeah.
Then that leads you to think about where a wall should be or shouldn't be, where a roof should wrap around or branch out.
Yeah.
It's all connected into what you want to happen there and what you want to make possible there. From the early days of working with bamboo, it was really only possible because we de-emphasized the drawing stage. We might have a sketch or two along the way, but there are many buildings in the first years of our work where we really, we made a bamboo structural model and the craftsmen built that. They replicated it at a bigger scale.
Yeah.
Which is a very direct, visceral, clear communication that skips over a lot of the issues with language barriers or technical knowledge and engineering degrees and things like this. Just replicate this and we can talk a bit about some of the details.
Yeah.
So we still do that. We still use bamboo models, both in our early concepting stage to make sketch models, and we use it all the way through to make detailed structural models, including of the other materials, not just of the bamboo.
Yeah.
And that is really why it's all possible.
Yeah.
But to complement it, and especially because of the engineering, we also need to have a lot of 3D computer models. And that, in turn, lets us do things that you wouldn't think possible from just an intuitive understanding of the material. I think think it's really important to bring the past with us into the future. And one expression of that is the traditional techniques and knowledge. We want to look like we connect as we evolve our style. But also, we want to create a world that we wish to live in. We want to create what we most imagine as the best future. I mean, so much of what I do with my life just comes out of a love of Bali, where I got the privilege of growing up. From my dad just first taking the stand that he wanted to build the green school entirely green. And the only way that he saw to do that was out of bamboo. And my dad's prerequisite for everything is that it have beauty in it. That seed of innovation is really what kickstarted bamboo. And I just couldn't resist being part of it.
The office has grown, obviously in the last 10 years. The success has brought more and more people to you. You're not just creating beautiful architecture, but you're creating a community around this, a knowledge base. How do you think about that as part of your remit as the principal here?
It's such a collaborative effort, construction and design. It really takes a whole orchestra to create a building. I mean, it's so much about communication. People say, like, what's the biggest challenge? I'm like, people. People are the biggest challenge and the biggest opportunity. Like, that's like the reality of it. I think that's true for so many industries. In the early years, it literally felt like slashing through the jungle. I mean, we would be designing on site in a little shed on the edge of a cliff. With
pretty exciting. Pretty raw.
And we really try to spend a lot of time on site to connect with it that way. Because we want to also get back to, why are we creating buildings? It's to create shelter. And that's like an age-old human need, is to protect ourselves. In Bali and in much of Asia, we need to shelter ourselves from maybe heat more than cold in some cases. We need to shelter ourselves from bugs or from smog. There are many things we still need to account for. But we have the privilege of the possibility of some days of the year when we can open things up. And so what if we weren't just designing from a defensive mentality? What if we were designing for all the best days and also could shelter ourselves as we needed to on the worst days?
There's a definite optimism in the work. You feel the sense of playfulness, there's a joy. So that's what you sort of want for everyone.
We get to work barefoot.
That is genius. With someone with your expertise, experience, and philosophy of design, what do you think good design is?
I think what I need to keep reminding myself, I think that what's often missing is seeing ourselves as a layer in a whole. It's like a piece in a puzzle. We're very often just addressing little bits of the world, and little bits of reality. But what if we could plug everything back into seeing ourselves as part of nature? And so, if we could just remember and recognize and realize that everything that we made sort of connected up with everything else, then we wouldn't do stupid things like making plastic at all. It just it wouldn't happen. Everything that's ever made is designed. And it's to do with what's the fundamental intention? What are the rules, the parameters of how to make that thing? And right now it's whatever you can get away with. And whatever can fit into the box that's been planned, the budget box, the regulation box, the expectation based on culture norms box. There's only boxes. Part of the beauty of our process is that pretty soon after the bamboo is harvested, it shows up in the workshop right next door. And then it's carried by all these hands throughout that process of getting dried and treated, in some cases processed into different size splits and into furniture and into building components. And so we stay really connected to the physicality of that. Design can get very ethereal, intellectual, and technical in ways that can really pull you away from what it really is. This is a material with a personality. Sometimes I think about what my childhood self would think if they got because I love seeing kids experience the world. So a kid running through the project that I made, my kids go into the Arc at Green School and they're like, oh yeah, the gym, whatever. But when you see how they are in the space, and if that could happen to adults too, they could catch that sense of childlike awe and contagion. Like, all that I need is for what I do, what we do, to make something possible in the world that leads us toward a world that I'm proud to be part of. Just to be a little piece of the tipping point of that, the percolation of that, that's the honor.
Laura Hardy and the whole Ibuku team aren't just building structures, they're imagining a future where architecture and nature dance in harmony. I'm here in Yogyakarta to meet Erin Dwi, a young graphic designer whose vibrant geometrical digital art is turning heads. With clients from all over the world, the work isn't just visually stunning, it tells stories which speak to the heart.
I actually like a drawing since when I was a kid. I have participated in any competition from elementary until high school. So yeah, that's why I believe to continue to visual communication design degree.
Mm-hmm. It was always in your blood, always something you were interested in.
Oh yes.
Yeah, from a very young person. Yeah.
Yes.
It's so vibrant and it's so colourful. It's so powerful, actually. Where do the inspirations come from?
My inspiration comes from everywhere.
Yeah.
My environment, my cat.
Your cat?
Yes, I have a cat.
What's your cat's name?
Toto.
Toto.
Yes, Toto. My music playlist and travel. Yeah.
And it seems like your style has developed very quickly into a signature of you. Was that something that you thought about, or is that something that's just naturally happened?
I have tried in several media before, because this is important to know the right basic in anatomy, coloring, before finding the comfortable style. Mm-hmm. I've tried in many styles before. I drawing with the pencil, watercolor, acrylic painting. Just because I try with many styles, finally I found my own style. In addition, I try to develop my style to keep posting in my Instagram every day during the pandemic COVID-19. Mm-hmm. So that's many people and brands became familiar with my work.
You've worked for some incredible clients. How is that experience, working for such big clients?
Yeah, it's like a different challenge, yeah. Experience to collaborate with a big client. Usually I partnership with art director and the brief, so I can use my vision and afford what they want so they can happy with the result. Mm-hmm. Yes.
I noticed it's not just the print work that you do, but you're now doing other things like here. What are you up to?
Okay. This is a collaboration with a sport brand in Indonesia. I create the pattern and my character and the bucket hat. And this is the last my collaboration with the hand lotion.
Okay.
This is the famous brand in Indonesia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I collaborate with them to create the packaging.
Fantastic. Because you're so early in your career, you're so successful for such a young graphic artist. You've got a long way to go. Where do you want to go?
I would like to developing my skills. I would like to explore my art style into something moving like animation to keep relevant in the future.
So, if you could work for anyone right now, who would your dream client be?
The dream client?
Dream client.
Okay. I think the New York Times to create an editorial illustration.
That's an interesting choice. So you're interested in the distribution and the news and being a part of that conversation?
Yes, I like editorial illustration, so that is the one of my dream client. I think the first I read the article and then I can visualize it. So this is a different challenge in the illustration, right?
So in that sense, because your illustrations tell stories, so what you're looking for is those everyday but important stories to illustrate to that and connect your practice with that everyday life. Is that right?
Yes, right.
Oh, that's such a great dream. I wish you luck.
Thank you.
The life that's so present in Erin's digital illustrations reminds us that while technology is a powerful tool, the real magic still comes from her imagination. Her work is powerfully arresting, but it tells stories that deeply engage and show that in the world of design, innovation and heart still go hand in hand.
Any form of art is artist's mind actually making that thought into a tangible thing. And that whole idea of if I have something in my mind, only I can see it, right? But I have that freedom to create a 3D form and turn that vision into something, and I can show it to the world. When I'm here, I am not thinking about the outside world. I'm here and, time just stops. I am really blessed to have such a, to have found this, or, to have clay found me.
From handcrafted plates and bowls to whimsical sculptures based on beloved fairy tales like The Little Prince and Velveteen Rabbit, Rashmi's ceramics bring a sense of magic and wonder to everyday objects. This is a very creative space you've got here, but tell me, how did you actually get into pottery in the first place?
I think it chose me. Pottery was something which I was so hooked to. I remember the first time I came home, I had clay all over me. When my sister opened the car, she told me the car is smelling of clays. And that feeling was so amazing. I remember the whole drive, I was just smiling because I was so excited. I knew that this is something which is going to be a part of my life.
Yeah.
The reason why pottery is so fascinating for me is because there is so much to learn. And, I have given it about 10 years now, and still I feel that I know only 1% of it. A lot of time, the flow usually is I come to the studio. Sometimes I have a very clear thought. If I'm working on a project, I have to imagine how I want it to look like and then work on all kinds of surface and textures and what glazes I want. Sometimes I let the clay guide me, and sometimes I have to tell clay to listen to me and do what I say.
I like the sound of
yes.
that. You've got such a broad creative practice, from beautiful, larger ceramics to super intricate characters that come from storybooks. Why are they so important to you?
I read these books, even though they are written for kids. As an adult, if you read those books, you kind of go back. In your mind, you are a kid again. And they're all about love, empathy, compassion. When we become adults, we forget about the little things which are, in plain sight, but we don't have that joy from those things. We don't see them. We see everything with adult eyes. Sometimes when you're reading a book, you can kind of see, you can see the characters coming out of the book. This is, I think, what made me go into it and try it. It's just pure love.
This is incredible. And this is all you, isn't it?
My inspiration is usually nature. So this is inspired by the moon, if you see the craters.
Of course.
Yeah. These are very specific glazes. They are supposed to kind of bubble up and those bubbles settle down, but they have these open pores. I say that I'm lucky to have this as a medium, ceramics as a medium, because you can express so much more. And I believe art, for that matter, that is the whole language of art, that you can express yourself.
Yeah.
So with ceramics, I say that I can add a little bit of fun, and at the same time, I can do my painting skills. So it gives me much more range,
Yeah.
and that is the fun part of it. So right now you are where the recycling happens. If I want to recycle clay, it has to be completely dry. So this is the tub where the clay is drying.
Okay.
Then it is mixed with water. It is slaked down for a couple of days. And at different stages of clay, as you see, it becomes thicker. It mixes up more. And then the new clay is all of these bags that you see here. This is all new clay. So this all is clay which has been used and broken shards, but it is recycled. And then this is the part where all the recycling happens.
Yeah.
If it can be recycled into fresh clay, I do that. If I have pieces which have cracked in the kiln, which didn't survive the firing and all, I have a different place. So I grind those pieces and I use them in my clay. So it gives a different surface decoration to the pot. You're always learning. The day you decide that you've learned enough or you've learned it all, that is the end of it. The universe is big enough to give you all kinds of experiences and all kinds of ideas. If you want to explore life and never feel that stagnant and stuck in a rut kind of a thing, you have to keep learning.
If someone was to think they wanted to start to work with clay, what would you advise them?
Go for it.
Yeah?
Don't think. Go for it.
I like that. Very straightforward.
Yes.
Just do it.
Don't wait. I started it in my 30s. Now when I look back, I wish I had the confidence to start it right after college.
What does good design mean to you?
For me, a good design has aesthetic sensibility. It has a clear-cut design. It has practical usability, and it has a story to tell. Each pot tells a story. You just have to listen to it.
Rashmi's studio is a workplace that it feels more like a sanctuary for her creativity and imagination. And it's a place where she can, most importantly, tell her stories through clay. Her ability to bring myths and legends to life through ceramics with such amazing fidelity is truly a testament to her skill in artistry. So whether you're an established artist or just a curious novice, there is something magical, after all, about just getting your hands dirty.